Hello, what's up, everybody? Hopefully, everybody's having a wonderful weekend. Sending nothing but love, positive energy your way. So, today I decided to go to my favorite spot, and that is in nature. Yeah, I have a beautiful area that I like to hang out at. It's close to my home, and yeah, it's very quiet and peaceful here. So, I may decide to go in, but we'll see how the bugs treat me. So, a couple of days ago, I received a phone call from my baby daddy, and it was pretty interesting. I'm very proud of myself. I did not blow a fuse, and I was able to, remain cordial. So, not trying to really go into details about the phone call, but of course, it was, related to the children. Um, my son, he's having a hard time really adjusting to change, especially with our family dynamic. And so when you're going through a separation or divorce, it's not easy when you're trying to stay mentally healthy for yourself, let alone your children and family as well. Some people can handle change and some people can't. But I feel like change is that's going to be a given. It's needed, especially if you know it's going to help you grow spiritually and emotionally and financially and mentally. Um, so yeah, I wanted to really talk about um, changes, transformation within yourself. And of course, I'm always talking about my experiences because I can't share my thoughts or information if I haven't went through it myself. So I wanted to just kind of give some encouragement to people who are actually going through a spiritual awakening or or deciding to go on a spiritual journey. I will tell you, it's not going to be an easy journey. And I mean, nothing in life is easy, but just know that your goal is to get closer to the Most High. Your goal is to learn more about your inner self and how to heal yourself so you can be better for yourself. And that way you can interact in a more positive way with other people. I know sometimes we lose focus of that because we want to fit in, we want to make everybody happy, we want to get validation from people, and that is not our purpose. That is not why we were put here on earth. We was not put here on earth to find out if we can make everybody happy that we come across. I can remember when I was in the classroom, and my students used to always say, "Man, I don't like what they'll say. They'll say, I don't like the way I want my old teacher back." That's what they'll say, and I'll be like, "Well, apparently your old teacher wanted to move on and find something better that's fit for her, and I can't go back and bring your teacher back. But one thing I can tell you is I am not here to be your best friend. I'm here to benefit you so you can make it to the next level, the next grade level. And it's going to come with, some days it's going to come with smiles, some days it's going to come with tears, some days it's going to come with anger. But the goal is knowing how to self-regulate and get back on track and keep pushing on until we move on to the next level." And so that's kind of how I'm beginning to see not just my students, but I'm beginning to see that with the people in my life. Sometimes people try to come in and try to tell you how to run your life and how to do things, and they have no clue on what to do for themselves. And I think that's why I kind of almost got into my feelings the other day when I was talking to my baby daddy, because, I tried to get him to understand a lot of stuff could have been avoided if he would be willing to make changes and grow with me. But I didn't really want it to make it about me. It's just the fact that, he called complaining about his life and how things are hard and it's not easy. And then he's trying to tell me, well, you need to do this with your son and do that with. I'm like, nigga, you need to be in your son's life. You need to be around your son to teach your son how to heal and how to adjust to changes. But see, you can't expect that out of somebody who don't even know how to do it themselves. So it's like, it took a lot out of me to not really go off and snap. Why don't call trying to tell me how to handle life in my world when you had opportunity to be in my world and you had opportunity to work with me. I'm not a hard, difficult person to work with. I'm just not going to deal with the disrespect. And eventually, as you get older, respect going to be very, very, very important to you. I don't care who you are interacting with. It can be your partner, it can be your best friend, it can be a family member, it can be your boss, it can be whoever you go to every Sunday. It's just the fact. It's just the fact is we just got to know how to stay grounded and how to keep our mind on the main goal, and that's to be better people so we can have a better world. So I had printed out some notes, and basically I know y'all hear me talk about raising your vibration, and I know people that's not into spirituality, y'all probably don't even know what the heck I'm talking about, raise your vibration. And so I'm going to try to explain it in the most simplest form. I'm still learning about vibration and frequencies myself, but I don't mind sharing. And if you want to add your input and some of your thoughts on it, I'm open to learning from you guys as well. So, as far as I know, everything in this world is going through a vibration. You may not be able to see it because of the way, I guess, being on a third dimension. You really, when you're vibrating low, you really can't see the other things that's vibrating, but they do have scientific certain devices that can help you see things that can vibrate. And it's not just music and speakers, but it's a lot of things that vibrate around us. But based on our environment, based on how we react, our upbringing, our thought process, it can cause us to vibrate at different levels. So we can vibrate low, and that's when we start feeling ashamed. We start feeling guilty. We have fear, grief. That's the lowest of the low when the vibrations. And then midway, you are more bold. You are neutral, and it is color coded. I'm going to post an example of what I'm reading. So yeah, when you are coming up out of the red zone of the grief and the anger and the guilt and the shame, and you're moving up to like the yellowish orange section, then you're more ready to open up your mind and not be closed-minded and living in a cognitive dissonant mindset. You're more ready to adopt to change. And then as you go higher, then the color to more like a bluish green. So that's when you have more love in your heart. With my messages in my posts, that's, I use the green heart because that's what I feel, genuinely true love, and it's unconditional. And then as you go further up, the highest on the vibration scale is enlightenment. And that is when you're up by your crown chakra. That's tapping into your third eye. That's doing different things to change your thought process. And that has something to do with what you eat, and what you study and what you program your mind with. If you are spending most of your time TikToking with jokes and inappropriate things, then you are just keeping yourself trapped in the matrix, because that's what they want. They want to distract you. And some people may wonder, okay, well, what about if I go to church? I go to church on Sundays and I pray. Does that have anything to do with raising your vibration? Well, it depends on what type of message you're receiving, because, when you are not taking accountability and you're ashamed to face the fact that you have addictions, or you're ashamed to say that, okay, I'm addicted to sex, I'm addicted to drugs, I'm addicted to alcohol, I'm addicted to sugar, I'm addicted to playing games, then that's not raising your vibration, because now you're saying, okay, well, I repented, and then there was no solution. I mean, you may say, okay, I'm gonna stop, and it may be only a few days, but I was told if you want to stop a bad habit or an addiction, it may require you to do it for 21 days before your body really adjusts to that change and that new way of behaving. So I'm just saying, it is pros and cons to depending on the church with making changes mentally and emotionally. I know plenty of people that went to church and got saved and tried to quit doing drugs and being in the streets. And then it's like probably less than a month later, they're back out there, because it's like the urges got the best of them. And it's all about changing your mindset. And like I said, you may hear me say it more than 1,000 times in each video that I post, because if your mindset is too stuck in your childhood trauma and too stuck in self-gratification and things like that, then you can go to an AA meeting, you can go to all the therapies in the world. But if your mindset is not set on, okay, I have a goal to achieve. I want to heal my life. I want to heal myself. I want to heal my finances. I want to heal all the things that I broke down because of my addiction. If your mindset is not on that, it's almost like pretty much you're stuck until your body expires. So here's a few tips that I want to leave with you guys, so I don't make this too long. All right, duckies, please don't come over here bothering. Okay. All right. So one thing that we need to work on when we're trying to improve our vibration is meditate. Meditate is almost like being in a mind state where you're quieting your mind and you're focusing on the here and now. You're using your 5 senses, but not to the point where you're being distracted from the meditation. I like to count when I am meditating, and it helps me with my breathing, because that's a part of it. You're inhaling, you're exhaling, and there's different chemicals you're giving off in your body to help you relax and help you stay centered and focused on the goal that you're trying to achieve in your meditation. I mean, it can be relaxing, it can be just Let's see, helping you with mental clarity and focus. Another technique you can use to raise your vibration is learning more about oils. As I told you, Mother Nature provides us with everything we need to heal ourselves, whether it's an internal or external. And so, different types of oils, such as frankincense, what is it, myrrh, tea tree, eucalyptus. If I'm pronouncing it right, don't pick on me. I don't use that word every day. And then rose essential oil, that is supposed to be the highest frequency essential oil, which will help you vibrate when you're smelling and using it. I guess you can use it in your lotions or your body oils, but it's supposed to boost your vibration up to 320 hertz. So let's see. And you really cannot get this done and achieve this without going and doing shadow work. And that is pretty much facing your trauma, trying to face why are you the way you are? Why do you think the way you think? And if it wasn't a healthy upbringing, you have to know how to rewire those thoughts and know and learn more about yourself and your history and figure out, okay, well, why is everybody in my family always lying? Okay, could it be that it runs in the bloodline? Could it be because they were trying to save themselves when they were enslaved on the plantation? And in order to live and not be tortured and whipped, they probably had to lie a lot to the master when they were being questioned or being in fear. Those are things that can pass down through your bloodline. You're trying to figure out, well, why everybody in our family alcoholics? Well, could it be that was a way to cope when you are being forced to work many hours in a cotton field, and then a little bit of time you have off? That's like the first thing you go to cope with the stress of just being, enslaved and treated due to racism and prejudice behavior. So those are things that you have to look and tap into and heal, because everything that is in our DNA, it pretty much runs all the way back to our ancestors, and you can't skip steps. No, you cannot go all the way back in time and try to fix the issue, but you can work on yourself today to make yourself a better person. I talked about breathing, doing meditation, and it also helps when you're angry. Like when my baby daddy was telling me how I need to run things in my household, I did a lot of breath work in that conversation, and he probably didn't recognize why I kept making the sound of just what they call it sighing, but that was just me releasing a lot of frustration, releasing a lot of anger, so I wouldn't snap and curse him out and let him have a piece of my mind and tell him where he needed to stick his advice. So like I said, I'm trying. Working on being aware of the here and now, even though it is important to go back into the past and heal as much as you can what is affecting you today. For an example, if you know that you've been through some kind of childhood trauma and it's like you're walking around and you're full of anger, a lot of times it's going to require you to look at where you are today, and you have to appreciate what you have today. And no, I'm not saying it's going to quickly heal your childhood trauma, but it will help you just recognize, look, I got my life, health, and strength. I survived the mistreatment, the abuse. And once you start looking at the here and now, then it kind of helps you work on forgiving others and understanding why a lot of people commit certain acts. And like I said, I'm learning to become more neutral when it comes to the negative and the positive, because karma works in mysterious ways. I mean, even though somebody did something bad to you and they may get bad karma, it also bring in good karma for the person that been violated, and to help them learn how to be more open and to learn how to be more positive, even though they have experienced a very devastating situation or circumstance. All right, so we talked about meditating at least 15 minutes a day. We talked about bringing in oil. I love to use Florida water. That's another thing that I use to kind of help my energy stay more uplifted. Spend time in nature. You'll probably see a lot of videos of me being in nature. I don't know how it may be when wintertime comes, but I know right now I'm going to soak up all the energy from the sun as much as I can, because I know that the further the sun is away from the earth during the wintertime, that's when you find a lot of people feeling more depressed and more kind of sluggish, and they have to kind of rely on coffee to survive, and I just don't want to have to do that. So I'm trying to soak in all the sun and let it make love to my melanin as much as possible. All right, so another tip they give is be aware of your bad habits, be open to shifting them, and don't be so quick to not constructive criticism. I used to be that type of person where I felt like, I did everything perfect in my world, in my mind. But if somebody is telling you that you're saying something to them that's making them feel some type of way, then you might have to revise the way you're saying things. And I know being a Sagittarius, I can be very brutal and harsh, and not intentionally, sometimes knowingly, sometimes unknowingly. But then, like I said, you have to be open to taking accountability and making sure that your goal is to speak life into people. And sometimes you may have to say some harsh things when people act like they can't hear you when you are telling them, or giving them your opinion or advice, even when it can be very simple. And that's something to keep in mind. Um, Tap into your creativity. I know when I was in a very abusive relationship, I was so focused more on trying to make my partner happy. I did not even recognize that I lost myself. I did not have the energy to do much for myself. I didn't even want to go pamper myself because I was like, well, what's the point? It seemed like nothing I did would keep my partner's interest. All they wanted from me was to raise some kids, and that's how I felt. Raise some kids and work and help contribute money to the bills. But it's like once you develop self-love, it's like you become more creative, and you're more brave, and you don't have to worry about, okay, whether my partner like what I'm doing or not, or being so quick to always need validation and things like that. So when you know who you are, then you know who's best suited for you and in your life, and you need to make sure that you are inviting someone that will uplift you and improve you, not keep you stagnant or keep you feeling less than, or using just making you an option. You just don't want to be put in that type of situation. When somebody is confused and lost with themselves, they'll bring you in and make you miserable and make you confused and lost too. So you definitely don't need that in your life, whether it's a male or female. Being open to recognizing limited beliefs and replace them with ones that will benefit you the most. And I mean, I know I had to use that tip when I was a teacher, because when you come into a classroom with 20 to almost 25 students with different backgrounds, sometimes they come to you with some very unique ideas and family traditions, and a lot of times you may look at it like but then you have to respect the differences in others, and help them embrace it. Don't just because, let me see, what's an example? Oh my goodness, I don't know, I'm having a brain fart right now. So I'll probably come back to that topic. But just being open and not being so quick to judge people because they're different from you and they believe in something different from you. I know that I'm very sensitive when it comes down to people of a religious institution trying to come and convince me to join a church, or I should get saved, or I should participate in this and participate in that. I respect differences, but if I feel like my spirit guides led me to educate others, just like people like to come and educate me about different things. The news educate people, the pastor try to educate people, ministers and different things like that. Your boss trying to educate you. So I feel like, if I feel a need to educate and share some ideas, I think these bugs telling me I need to go ahead and wrap it up, because I ain't trying to walk around with no mosquito bites all over me. But to sum it all up, do your research, be patient with yourself, don't overwhelm yourself. This is a lot of information. It's a lot of things that we should have learned early on in our life. And it's, like I said, it's more to it than a European system of going to church and going to school. There's so much out there, so much information out there that can help benefit you, whether you are depressed, whether you are struggling with anything. I would say nature is very important. That's why when you go to a mental hospital, that's why they have a beautiful outdoor area, so you can sit down and get your thoughts together. Even at the schools, that's why they have parks and playgrounds. It's something about nature that connects with us and help us vibrate where we need to be. But like I said, you just got to put in that work. It's not going to happen overnight. And until next time, peace out.